Hey, all, this is Lee from the Magic Our Way podcast, and you're listening to the BS Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Lukewarm Cinema Podcast. You already know who it is. Do I have to even explain it? We got Bob, we got Josephina, and I'm Michelangelo.
Buenos dias.
Yo. Sorry about that. You already know who it is. It's your boys.
Yes. So, Austin,
Yes.
this week,
Yes, sir.
how did it go?
It was good. School, work, business is doing good. I'm up to like 3 clients now.
Ooh, there you go.
So making my like $60 a week.
You sound like you're pretty busy.
I'm trying to be now. Copying our friend that was on a few episodes ago, Joey DeBlanco. I'm trying to copy him. I've been doing some work for him, so I'm definitely trying to.
My question is, do you find any time to slip, like, rub one out real quick? Are you?
No, my life's not that interesting anymore.
So you don't go rub them out like in secret? Go to your car like how they did it.
Go to my car.
And I think it's Horrible Bosses.
Workaholics.
That
When
too.
they do it together, they have curtains sectioned off in their car, and they're like, "All right,
That's
let's go for a
classic.
jerk break, everybody."
That's hilarious.
Y'all
I
wanna
don't
do that
remember
right now?
episode. We'll put up curtains. And
See, well, now we're filming, so now we can't do it anymore.
Well, we have to be verified to go on the hub, but we could do other sites.
yeah, I mean,
We could like live stream. That's a very elusive market.
well, you could subscribe to our OnlyFans. You'll see it after the show. We're just uploading special content.
It's literally just us sitting there, just like fucking drooling, just like.
Hello.
But it was good though.
Low key super avoided that question very well. But all right.
Oh yeah. So people who probably don't know, I'm looking to buy a house by the end of the year, and Vanessa was like totally like distancing herself from the process. She was like, I don't want to deal with it because I've gotten her hopes up before, but like this time, like, excuse me, it's like obtainable.
Mhm.
Like we're making all the right steps and getting all the right help. So up until this week, she was like, I don't want anything to do with it. Find a house or like a condo or something. But just keep in mind, I want to make sure I like it. And I was like, oh, I was stressing out because she's very particular. And then last Saturday, she goes, hey, what is like our like approximate budget? Because we're working with a lender so I can repair my credit so I know what to do. But she kind of already gave us like you'd probably be looking at about this much. So we went a little below that. And I told her, and now she's like looking at everything.
Mm.
So now it's like, all right, she's invested. But
Oh,
we
got
made
it.
the mistake though of going to this house, and I fell in love with it. And I know it's already sold because I looked it up. So Zillow is what everybody uses, but Zillow is like the worst because they'll list something and it's already been sold like a month ago. And this was the case because Redfin is very accurate. It's actually what I'm using most of the time, even though I'm trying not to look because we're still working on credit repair, and then we got to get the lender.
Yeah. I feel if you look too early, you're gonna
Get let down.
Well, I feel you got to take these early houses as kind of just like a foundation. Like this
And
is what
that's-
we like.
Well,
But
that's
we
what
don't.
we're trying to do. Is we're like, okay, like I don't want tile because a lot of these houses have like tile everywhere, and I don't want that. Tile in the kitchen and bathrooms, okay. I want either carpet or like laminate or wood.
Yeah. I used to have wood floors. Have you guys ever had wood floors?
Yeah, we have. My dad's been in my parents' house. My dad's been slowly converting, so the hallway is wood. Oh, hey, Dad.
It's like a man
Splinters.
thing. The man thing is you have to like try to do it by yourself. You're
See,
like,
and he did that with the
I don't want
tile.
to call anybody.
You guys have been in my kitchen. All that tile was laid by him, and that shit's uneven as fuck.
I thought it was. As
Bro.
far as I remember, it was always like that. So I didn't know
Well,
that.
he did it like when we were in middle school.
That's probably why.
So, but yeah. So we're kind of like, okay, we like this. We kind of understood with our budget. We can't be like, oh, we want to live in Summerlin. And be like, all right, you get a 1-bedroom, 200 square foot house.
You pay the Snobberland tax, you know?
Well, it's just like there's no houses out here in our budget. So it's mostly like east side or like directly west of Decatur. Like just ever so slightly.
So this is kind of interesting. Do you think it'll like the prices of houses are going to go down because so many
No.
people are getting evicted? Well, they're going to be
Well, there's a
getting
lot
evicted.
of foreclosures, but here's the thing though. Not to get political. We're probably going to get political with this episode though. Biden, granted, this is far from happening, but he wants to give a $15,000 tax credit to first-time home buyers. If that happens, houses are going to skyrocket.
Well, yeah, because it's just inflation. That's the way the market
people
works.
are going to be like, "Oh, you're going to get that $15,000 credit. I'm going to raise my house by $20,000."
Of course, yeah.
So-
No, it's
And with the sports teams here, it doesn't make it easy. That's why we're trying to buy this year. You know, we're like, okay, if we got to get in, you know, while the market's still kind of low. Granted, we could wait a little longer, but then it's probably like, hey, what we could have afforded now is double.
that is true. That is
So, but yeah, so I made the mistake driving there, fell in love with that house. It's already sold. So I'm trying not to do that now. I'm trying to actually not even look.
Yeah, no,
Just trying to be like, all right, oh, this like we'll still send each other stuff like, hey, what do you think about this? Like this layout.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like, okay, we like that, but we're gonna get obviously way more serious once we're pre-approved and we have the down because we can get pre-approved before we even have the full down payment. But you know, people don't think of closing costs, and you basically just have to get a second down payment for closing.
And this is how to buy houses 101.
I've watched probably 100 hours of YouTube videos on house buying now
Yeah, I feel like I'm watching one right now.
because I'm just regurgitating everything I've heard.
I know it. I'm like
I already know what loan I'm
catching
getting.
all this knowledge.
I already know what loan I'm getting, what fees come with that, what is like to be expected.
Is there a Watch Mojo? Is there like that'd be
Oh, no.
hilarious?
There's a dude I watch named Javier Vidania, and he's a real estate agent from Arizona, and he's funny as fuck because he'll be like, "Yeah, you like this house, but guess what? You broke, so you can't afford this house." So he's always going into like, "How much can you actually afford?"
See, yeah. Sometimes those videos kind of are for me because sometimes those real estate guys play this image. I don't
Well,
know.
this dude seems
I know
very
a lot
genuine.
of realtors. He probably is, and I'm a douche
But I
because
do know what
I'm
you're talking
jealous.
about.
Flat out, I'm jealous of you. All right, you have a better life than me, but you know,
Yeah. So
Whatever.
what about you, dude?
business as usual. Kids are doing phenomenal. We had Wednesday off for some reason.
Yeah, I was just say because you have the 3-day weekend this weekend too.
I
Right?
do have a 3-day weekend, President's Day.
Christian's on that 15-day
most-
weekend.
Important holidays ever, if I do say so.
What did you tell us? Because I was trying to get us to go golf, but you're gonna be gone. But what did you tell me I should play like?
Oh, you
Like-
should play like a president.
Just have like 15 people guarding me.
That, and if you play anything like Trump, you're gonna play pretty well. Like,
I heard Obama's pretty good at golf too, right? Is he? With the dad Nikes.
That's cultural. Like that's racist, but it's kind of not. Like, I don't know.
it's a majority. Actually, like insane. Like it's like 80% of the NBA. So,
Statistics.
yeah.
Obviously, statistics are
sorry.
racist too
don't
now.
you even go there. I know
all
where
right.
you're gonna go.
Well, but yeah, no. Business as usual. I have a big day planned tomorrow. Me and Cameron are celebrating Valentine's Day a day early because her dad's birthday is on Valentine's Day. So, got a little like scavenger hunt thing planned. I could give you guys the deets. Hopefully, she's not around the corner. But anyway,
She has her ear to the door right now.
so I have like 6 spots that I'm taking her to. Well, I'm not going to take her to. I'm leaving her notes at each spot. So like the first place we met, like the park right next to that place. And I told her I'm not answering my phone at all. So-
I could just imagine you snuck into the high school that you guys went to and just like, hey yo, it's okay.
I had to make some accommodations on some of these, and some of these I still don't even know if like I'm going to be able to put it where I want to put it. But
Put on top of the flagpole. Get to
Bro.
that shit.
bro, it's like it's low key like exhilarating. Like I'm super excited for tomorrow, and I haven't been this excited for something in a while. But like I typed it, like I was just. It's easy to type things up when you just like it's coming straight from your head.
Yeah.
So I typed up like this entire little story that I put together because I was like, I don't want to spend fucking. I usually spend on average around $160 on Cameron for Valentine's Day. Like Like,
Yeah.
I'll because she gets a lot of stuff from me. I'm just trying to reciprocate the love. But this year I said, I'm going cheap, and I'm going like, let me use my imagination.
Which probably weighs more.
It does.
Because I'm already like $100 deep on Vanessa for this weekend. But, she's like a full-time parent. I mean, I parent too, but she's like, that's her full-time job. So it's kind of like, hey, see Rowan? I threw him into the lake. Let's go.
There we go, bro.
Ezekiel, I am.
But anyway, so like we're gonna end up having a little. It ends at a hike that we took, and it's kind of crazy. It says it was supposed to rain tomorrow on one of the weather reports, and one of the reasons why I chose this hike to end at, not only because it kind of fits the way that she's going, but we went up to the top of this hike one time, and it started to fucking rain. And like it was like a thunder rainstorm as we're hiking out in the middle of the desert, no coverage. The lightning and the thunder was hitting so close to us, bro, that like it was simultaneous. You'd see the flash and hear the loudest crack of thunder you've ever heard in your life. So it's like it was our first ever like really terrifying moment that we had with each other. We might have it again tomorrow, which I'm stoked for. So hopefully we don't die. But I really hope it rains and it's just a fucking like same exact thing.
So I got a story about kind of what you're doing tomorrow. So my family and I like to go on, Disney cruises. So one time I went on one like my freshman year. There's some honeys on them cruises. Because there's like on the Disney cruises, they have like a teen club. So it's like age 14 or like 13 to 17. And it's like a lounge.
Illegal. Jailbait. Can't go there. Next.
Well, now you can't. Now, if you're 18 or over, they're like, hey, yo, dog, you got to go down to the pool, bro.
It's probably the simplest solution. They probably have seen some things.
Oh, yeah. Well, they probably started with that. And we're like, we already know what could possibly. Anyways, so.
We're not on that Dan Schneider shit anymore, bro.
Oh, God.
We're off of that.
Oh, my God.
So the cruise was in October, which is what? Homecoming, right?
Yeah, October is right around homecoming.
It's funny because there's only like 5 of us that were from America on this cruise in the teen club. Everybody else was from like Spain or a lot from Canada. And so they're like, hey, we're going to have our own homecoming because they have like a dance floor and everything like in one of the like venues on the ship. And they said, so you guys can ask somebody to be your date. So I did the same thing with this girl. I'd never talked to this girl after the cruise. Like nothing really came of it, but I was like, I'm going to do it. I like her. She's hella cute.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, but I did like a scavenger hunt and I had like all the dudes help me. And it was like the sickest thing. And I had her go through like the entire ship.
That's pretty dope, man.
And like there's a different guy waiting. And so she kept thinking like, is this the guy who's asking me to homecoming? And then they would give her a note. And then it would say like, oh, go to here. She go somewhere. And then eventually got to me and I did it. And she like cried.
Little fucking Romeo over here.
Now look at me.
I'm just stealing the blueprints.
Fucking fat.
Just stealing the blueprints. So Chris.
Chris, enough about us.
It was nice hearing about you. Now it's time for the main attraction. No, just kidding.
Here's your headliner.
So, like, still, like, the trying to find a job online thing is getting really old. I'm about to just start, like, walking into a bunch of places.
With a ski mask on. Yo,
Face in the place.
It's like weird, because, like, with the pandemic and everything, like, I don't know what those motherfuckers are thinking. So that's the plan there. Okay. Like I've been staying home and playing video games a lot and like it's fun. I was just playing Yakuza 0. Very fun. You're in the 80s, you're like a Japanese mobster, you're beating people up. It's fun.
What else are you doing in that game?
And also there's like a real estate like sub game to where there's like 5 regions of the city and you have to try to buy all the real estate, right? But it's also like cutthroat, like Yakuza business. So you start taking over you start getting a higher percentage of the profits in the area, and the other real estate guys come after you and they send their goons to your locations so then your collection of money stops and you have to go on location and go beat their asses.
Christian goes, where the fuck is my imaginary money?
And there's a few different fighting styles. I like to use the one where he just picks up whatever items are on the street. So he'll just like pick up a bicycle and just beat the living crap out of them with it.
God.
So my favorite saying is, oh, bold of you to start a fight with me next to this bicycle.
Do you even know what I'm capable of?
So that's been fun. I played that till like 5 a.m. and woke up late today. But positive thing that I've been doing is I'm trying to like, while I'm like not employed, I'm trying to like kind of better myself a little bit. So one, I've been focusing on like my hygiene stuff. I bought this badass new soap. I bought this like scrub for my skin.
I just bought steel wool and bleach.
Bro, that works. But I've been doing that, and you know, just like some different, because like when you stay in home all the time, like your like schedule for that type of shit changes kind of.
Oh, of course, 100%.
I just remember like when I was in middle school and it was like, oh, I haven't showered in 2 weeks, bro. I'm just playing Call of Duty.
I gotta fucking do something, right? Like, oh my
See,
god.
for me, that helps me with work though, because like I still work from home. So like I wake up and I shower as if I'm gonna go to work, and I get dressed. Like for the longest time work from home, I just roll up just what I wore to sleep and just be like, yeah, I'm here. I work. Give me money. But now I'm like,
That's good. It's creating that like so like that's part of what I'm doing. I'm creating like a schedule,
like a routine.
not a schedule, but a routine. So, and also I'm trying to do workout just a little bit every day. There's been a lot of times where I planned like a workout regimen, and then like the first few days I'm like, wow, I did too much, and then I stopped doing it. So I'm just doing like a tiny ass amount every day.
Hell yeah,
That's
man.
how you
That's
start,
good shit,
man.
Yeah.
Like Vanessa and I started going to the gym, and we were doing like 10 minutes on the bike at first. 2 nights ago, she was like, I could do an hour. And I'm like, oh, all right.
Badass.
Let her go, bro. Like,
Oh, I'm not stopping her. Like I'll do like 40 minutes with her on the bike, and then I'll do like either like a machine, or I'll go do like the stair stepper, because she's trying to really get in shape. I'm trying to like trim.
yeah.
So like stair stepper, I don't think I need any work on my arms for a little bit.
Gotta just
They
get,
look nice.
yeah, like, I
Well,
mean,
George was telling me when we were going to the gym, he's like, bro, you're at the perfect weight to like fucking like bulk up on,
yeah, no, like
get shredded.
honestly, same for you, Chris. Like, if you like, you know, you keep doing your little progressing day by day, dude, like this shit just adds up. You know, me and Cameron, like, even though we've always been in shape,
Y'all both fucking athletes.
there's a significant difference though in the people that we were about 2 years ago to the people we are now.
I saw you posting about Cameron's progress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cameron's out here getting fucking
she's
GAINZ.
Yeah, she's next level with it. She's fully embraced like that as her lifestyle. No,
See, Vanessa's doing the same though.
Huge
Like she's
difference.
yelling at me that I don't go enough, and so she's like, I'm gonna buy my own membership. You just drop me off. I'm like,
honest.
oh,
Hey, bro. The thing is, with working out, you'd mentioned a regimen. When you start to overplan things, I don't know. Life, you can plan for about a week, I would say, but if you start to overplan,
yeah, you can't be like, all right,
you're gonna disappoint yourself. You
Yeah.
have to have more victories than you do losses, or else you're gonna lose interest.
Yes.
So, like, you know, just get a little shit. Just keep it in mind. You know,
10 push-ups a day, 5
like, and
sit-ups,
it sounds like you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm doing time based.
Mhm.
So
which is that's the best way to start.
and it's a very small amount. Like this sounds like shitty, but like I'm big, and like doing stuff like push-ups and sit-ups straight from no workout, that's
Absolutely
difficult.
not.
So
Oh, yeah,
I'm not doing that right now.
No,
So I set a timer, and I put on some music, and like I'll put on like a little like a psychedelic visual or something just to like look at while I work out. And like what's cool is like the second day in a row that I did it, it was easier than the first.
and that's exactly how it goes.
So I feel good about what I'm doing. And so, and like, this is like, I've been on diets and like done exercising. So this, I feel like I'm closer to something that could like yield results than before. So like, I feel good about that. So that's like my positive thing I've been doing.
Well,
So
I'm gonna say I'm really proud of you for doing that, because you're not gonna have somebody else say, hey, you should do this. You're doing it like on your own, which means you really want to do it.
yeah, you can't be forced.
Yeah, like
No.
with people who are like addicts, they say like they have to want to do it for themselves.
100%.
So and all you can do is start.
Yeah.
And just keep going. Just do a little bit every day. Eventually, you'll be like, bitch, I did 600 push-ups. Austin, the fuck did you do? I'll be like, I ate in and out. That's what I did.
See, and that's the other thing I found. Like, I'm not like doing like my diet's pretty much the same with a little bit of difference. Like, because I feel like when I do everything at once, like
It's overwhelming.
flip my diet, do a bunch of workout, then I say, wow, this sucks, and then like you slip up once, and then you say it's over.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like if you watch, like I've seen a. Excuse me, sorry everybody. I'm pretty sure George and I have talked about this before, but like if you watch people who like have good results, they say I didn't just quit fast food overnight. I would cut down how much I would eat it at first. Like, okay, I'm only gonna do twice a week or once a week. So because you're, it's like quitting cigarettes cold turkey. It's like your body's gonna be like, what the fuck?
For me, it's like a subconscious kind of game. Like, the more you're thinking about something, the more likely it is to be present in your emotions.
Right.
So when you're very just even keeled about everything, as long as you're in a happy mood, you're going to continue to do those things naturally. You know what I mean? So you can't ride the highs or the lows too much. You can't like it's just something that I'm glad to hear you doing it. I'm gonna fucking be your accountability buddy every once in a while. I'm gonna shoot Chris text.
Nice.
He was my accountability, but Vanessa's turning into my account. But when I was going to the gym with him, and then I stopped because I got fucking COVID.
And then you started work. Well, you got more like hours and shit too. So and then
Well, I didn't get
I
more
started
hours.
school again.
Yeah,
so-
you started school again. My hours were always the same,
yeah.
but I my flexibility changed. I
Yes.
couldn't because I would go and we'd go to the gym at like 9 a.m. and I'd be like, all right, as long as I start by like 11:30,
Yeah.
we're cool. But now I'm like, I have to start at 8.
Yep.
And so when Vanessa and I go, though, it's a little different because usually we've got to put Rowan to bed first. So we're not going till like 11. And before, when I was starting at like 9:30, it was like, oh, all right. But now it's like I got to be like asleep by like 11:30. Like, dog.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
no.
so now, like, thankfully, like, she was like, okay, well, we'll adjust when we put Rowan to bed. We're gonna start slowly. Like, I think we started at like 9:30. Now it's 9:15. Now it's 9. So,
Perfect.
because hopefully, knock on wood, like last night wasn't too successful. But normally he's like 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then he's out.
Yep.
And then we just, I tell my parents, hey, can you just keep an ear out for him? We're gonna go to the gym, and then go to the gym, get it done, come
Perfect.
back. But she's turning into a little cardio junkie though. She'll do the machines and the weights with me, but like her bread and butter right now is cardio. And like the other night, she did like 40 minutes, and she was like, "Why do I feel so good?" I'm like, "You got that runner's high."
Mm-hmm.
The only time I ever got that was I did a 5K. It's a funny thing, also on a Disney cruise, did a 5K, and it was in the Bahamas. It was winter here, but it was like hot as fuck there, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm dying!" And then like around like 4K, I was like, "I feel amazing."
It's a weird flip.
Yeah.
It takes you getting so tired to the point where like you can't even begin to think. And
Yeah.
you're just like, I hope I breathe. Like, I hope this next breath is coming. And then eventually you'll be like, and then you get this huge rush, this overwhelming sensation of
And you-
fucking speed
And
up,
you're just like,
get faster. You know,
I'm
and
gonna
it's like,
sprint the
where
rest
did-
of this.
Where did this come?
Yeah.
My God.
But Christian, I'm really glad to hear that you're taking control of your life because we care about you.
Yeah. And like it's one of those things that like nobody wants to like come up to you and say like, hey man, you need to lose some weight. Like nobody wants to do that.
No, it's like I don't want to be that asshole.
Everybody hopes that like you'll choose to do better for yourself. And like that's not like a fat shaming thing, like because it never is. It's just like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I feel positive about it, and so yeah,
Which is great because a lot
it's
of
a
people.
badass thing for me. Yeah.
Fuck
Because
yeah.
like Joe Rogan said, he said if you're only gonna work out when you're motivated, good luck.
Yeah.
He said you just got to show up and do it. And I found that to be true. Like I don't know if you find this, but like I'll be having like a shit day, and I'll run or I'll do the bike, but I listen to music every time, and I'll just put tunes on and just fucking dig my head in, and then like afterwards I'm like, I feel really good.
The music helps it, bro.
It does.
I just
learned
hook
that-
up a Bluetooth speaker and put on whatever thing.
I learned that with wrestling because wrestling, woo boy, like 40 minutes on the bike is rough, but like, hey, we're gonna run 2 miles and then do bleachers. Like, oh, for real?
I will say there is a bliss behind developing the ability to not have music, like
Oh, yeah.
being able to just like mentally talk to yourself the whole time, because you're then just having a conversation with yourself as
See,
it's
I kinda-
replacing music.
I
you
kind
know?
of do that with music already though. Like, I'll take that. It's almost like
It
everybody-
puts you in a spot.
everybody talks about meditating, and I can't do that. Like, just my head won't let me sit there and be like, okay, I'm going to think about my day. No, music lets me do that though. I'll put music on, usually metal. Like if I'm doing workouts, it's always metal. And like, yeah, I'm listening to the music, but I'll also like the other night I was thinking about like, because I trying to move and everything, it's a big financial like burden. It's a huge step. It's probably the most expensive thing I'll ever purchase. And so it's kind of like, okay, you need to do some soul searching and realize what you want, because you need to know what you want. Because if you're moving in here, you can't be like, oh, I'm going to quit my job and be a full-time, filmer. I'm going to stream on Twitch with no following and just quit my job. Like, you can't just do that. So I kind of like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is where you're sending your life to be. But like, I don't know. Biking does that for me. But I feel like we're 25 minutes in right now, and all we talked about is like
Our lives.
which I mean,
It's the filter. If you want the good stuff, you got to wade through the, the welcomes.
yeah, Franny, I hope you enjoyed that. So,
Eventually, I think the coolest thing is, and I think one day it'll happen, people will actually give a shit what we just talked about. You know what I mean? People will develop a connection to our voices. I think with time.
Well,
It's just-
I was going to touch on this at the end of the episode, but we're getting like comments on YouTube, and like we read that. Like,
Fired up.
Like there was a guy who just commented on our Bob Lazar video and just talked total shit on the director, and I was like, "That's valid."
That guy did suck. That director.
Yeah, that guy did kind of suck. So, but like we read that, and like we encourage you to have those opinions. So like, voice them. Like Franny yells at me every time we talk about Star Wars. No, bitch, that's wrong. All right. Yeah. But anyways, we should probably legit get into what this episode is about, which is kind of a broad topic, but we have some specifics to talk about.
Hey, do we want to talk about the Mandalorian deal?
Right.
real
So Gina, how do you Carano?
Carano, I believe it was.
From The Mandalorian has been officially axed by Disney. There's controversy about what she said. I'm not going to get too deep about what she said. We'll just say that she was making...
Can I paraphrase it?
Yeah, you can go ahead and paraphrase it. I just didn't want to be like, she said this because I don't want to put words in her mouth.
Okay, like, and just, like my bias, like, I go more right than left, okay? So, like, I implore anybody to, like, look at, like, the tweets and stuff. Apparently on Twitter and Instagram, she said, like, anti-mask stuff before, and they say anti-LGBT. But the thing that, like, really did it in was apparently the articles all say that she compared Republicans to Jews in the Holocaust, right?
Right.
And I looked at the tweets, and they basically what she posted was saying that before the Jewish people were persecuted in the Holocaust, the government had taught the Jewish people's neighbors to hate them, to vilify them for their beliefs. She said, how was that any different from vilifying somebody for their political beliefs?
Which there is some truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. But people just instantly were like, oh, she's anti-Semitic. I was like, but to be fair, as somebody who works, Disney did tell her, this came out after she had been like, Disney told her back in like November, hey, chill out with the social media stuff if you want to keep your job. I'm pretty sure as all of us have worked regular jobs.
We're under that. We're under that standard. We were taught that all growing up.
Yeah. And so she went with it, and Disney was like, we have no choice. And it's not so much that of what she said. I mean, what she said has some weight, but it's more of the fact that she brought like negative attention to herself again.
You can't, yeah. So sometimes don't you think these just celebrities should just carry flip phones?
Oh yeah.
Like, especially when you achieve a level of fame, like you can have people do that for you. There's no need for you to be physically in charge of that account. And I hope a lot of these people stop, because like there's no need for social media really at the end of the day. And think about how many careers it's ruined.
Oh yeah. Like
so many careers.
Back when I was in a band, we used to go to these music conferences, and we got to meet this lady who was a social media manager. And I remember my bass player was like applauding her because she goes, yeah, I manage Billy Corgan's social media and got him to turn it around. And she was like, good job that you turned Billy Corgan around, because I don't know if you've ever seen his social media, but it's pretty.
He's the frontman of the Smashing Pumpkins.
Nope. A grunge
band from the 90s, not grunge, alternative rock.
Bad music. I'm just kidding.
Bro, all right. So this is the alternative music podcast.
He was in a
he can be kind of a douche sometimes, and
Okay.
like really bump head with fans. So that's the story.
Didn't you
there.
say they like did a tour and they didn't play any old music?
Yeah, and then some guy asked him, "Why don't you play any of your old songs?" And he said, "Because people like you ask me to."
Like that's the kind of
And
person
then he got in his bus and he left.
So
Hey,
this
yeah.
lady was like, I manage his social media. And sure enough, at that time, Billy Corgan's like Twitter turned around and was like, hey guys, thanks for being my fans. And like my bass player stood up and like clapped for her and was like, good shit for doing that, because that's not an easy task.
Well, I think it's easy once people like give up control. You know what I mean?
I have completely deleted Twitter. I
have it. I never use it. I'm gonna be honest.
I would never use it either. So I was like, why do I have this?
I just use it for quick news. I only ever go on what's trending on Twitter. Like I never go through my feed. I don't follow good people, and I know the most important stuff is going to be within.
Yeah, the one I use the most is Facebook, and then Instagram, and then TikTok.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
but I think of hours spent on. I think TikTok is where all my time is at, because I'll just get into a rabbit hole and be like, ha, that made me laugh.
But think about this: you go on this rabbit hole. This chick tweeted some 15 seconds, and now bye bye. It's like,
Yep.
Just stop. There's no need. I think people think their opinion matters too much.
Well, in a world of social media, I mean, look at us. We're on the
We're doing it, I guess.
We're doing it.
Mhm.
We think our opinions have some gravity, and to some people it does, but
Yeah. But I don't that's not the end goal for me. Like,
no.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you think my opinion matters or not. I hope you understand that my opinion doesn't really matter. I don't know. Like, I'm okay
I hope you
with
understand that we have opinion.
I'm okay with that though. Like, are you guys like?
Hey, look, we're employed. The Lukewarm Cinema, we're employed by ourselves. Okay, we get a free pass. The worst thing that could happen is, we get taken off of like Spotify or iTunes
YouTube or whatever. But yeah,
the thing that I don't like about this is everybody's saying it. Everybody's calling out like cancel culture, right? I thought about it, and I thought I conveyed it in like a very like sense making way when I thought about it on this story. Is that like before, when you didn't like something that like whether it's the way the artist is socially or politically, it was like you just said, I don't like him, so I'm not going to listen to him or view their work, right? I always think about how, Phil Collins, this great songwriter. I remember when South Park gave him shit. Apparently he's kind of like a pseudo like shitty person.
At times he can be.
But it's like that was badass.
Anything Phil Collins is bad. Like, have you all the memes are resurfacing now? Like,
yeah.
Okay, Phil, this is a movie about a boy raised by gorillas, and he's like playing on the piano, and the piano's on fire. Because the Tarzan soundtrack is amazing. If you haven't listened to it, one, what the hell's wrong with you? Two, go listen to it.
Yeah, but now the difference now is you don't like something that somebody does. You go on Twitter and these people tweeted Disney, you need to fire her. Now, if you don't like what they say, now it's not that it's not for you. Now you get to decide with your mob mentality. Nobody else gets to enjoy it because I don't like it. And I think that's really cringe. So
It is.
that's what I don't like about cancel culture.
It is.
But we figured we'd talk about it because we
watched The Mandalorian.
We watched The
And
Mandalorian. We talked about it.
I'm gonna miss her, man. She was nice to look at.
She was an established character, and I think it's not for the better, it's for the worse that they just like. I wonder how they're going to handle it. She joined the Empire and got bombed. I don't know.
Well, have you seen the memes? It's like she got into her X-wing and it exploded. LOL. Like, but it's the Star Wars credits.
Who knows?
But anyway, so as you can tell by the title, today we're talking about Vice, the investigative journalism platform that I feel like most of us probably see their articles a lot, but for I think all three of us, I mean, George, I know you said you fell off for a little bit, but you were heavy into at some point. I feel like we were all heavy into their videos on YouTube.
Mhm.
We watched a couple of their videos tonight because we've been on like a documentary kick, and this is better than any documentary.
Honestly.
It's literally boots on the ground, and I feel like much more in territories that like CNN and Fox are like, that's a place, that's okay, we won't go there.
Yeah, the Vice that I've been watching more lately is their freaking channel on Hulu. They have their own TV
that's
channel.
right. Yeah, I remember they have their own channel.
So a lot of the stories like that they play on here, they play
Like
in
bite size, right?
They have their own news show nightly.
Yeah,
called
Vice News.
Yeah, Vice News Nightly. And I mean it's pretty much these little 10-15 minute segments on, the most important topics in the world. But like you said, a lot of primary sources, a lot of journalists going to places and doing interviews that
they managed to get an interview with the Taliban. Like, how did they walk out of it alive?
I think it's all about and we'll touch into it a little more once we talk about like what those cartels did. But as long as you're calm when you're going in to talk to people and you're just very like, hey, we just want to tell your story.
Yeah, I feel like that's exactly what they tell them, and they're like, yeah, I want to tell my story. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, so just to give like a preface, I feel like we could all do this. I first saw them as a freshman in high school on YouTube, and I remember I was watching about. I haven't seen this in years, but first thing I saw was the suicide forest in Japan. I think that's what really got them up there was that video, and you were like, "What? There's a suicide forest in Japan?" Which then Jake Paul was like, dead body." But I watched it, and I remember they were with a guy who goes and checks on people and goes, "Hey, man, just want to let you know you're loved. Like, don't do anything too hasty out here. I'm just checking on you." And then right after that, I saw one about a military training installation in the UK where they literally just like mimic it to be a Middle Eastern town for their troops. But they have like amputees come in and they'll simulate like explosions. Like, oh my God, I just lost my leg. He already lost his leg, but they'll do like prosthetics of like another, like of the rest of his leg. And I was like, and like people will die there. Straight up, like troops will die there because some of the stuff is so real.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I'll have to watch it again, but it was like one of the first ones I saw. And then another one that I saw was this one was real. It was somebody in Syria right when everything in Syria was popping off around 2012. And they show, I guess we should say trigger warning. I guess that's the thing you say. This is probably going to be a graphically described episode because if you don't know Vice, like they don't censor anything on YouTube at all. They'll censor nudity because they kind of have to, but I saw like somebody, I'm not going to say like what type of person because I feel like it's wrong to say, but I saw a person on the table with their organs hanging out. And this doctor explaining like, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do for him.
Yeah.
Like that, like as a high schooler, like a freshman, that shit like, I don't know, humbled me real fast. It was like, it kind of sucks that my phone got taken away, but at least I'm not like getting bombed.
Because our parents also, right? Like this is the first of its kind. And I think that's why it's so
what, Vice?
Impactful for us. No, but think about just how easy it was for you to find that video of seeing that. You know what I mean?
I was in my room with my laptop. I had nobody watching me do this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's something that you said it happened like when you were a freshman in high school. Imagine a lot of these kids, it's happening when they're 5 years old.
Yeah.
Now. Like, it's like what they
live through.
The base. Yeah. So it's very nuts at how real they make the world seem.
Well, I don't want to say real. They just show you the world. Like, this is the world. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we have, like, I guess this is our privilege coming out. We have it very good here.
Yes.
We are in a house, in a neighborhood that is completely safe compared to what it's like to be in Syria or Libya or in the Sahara Desert or in Armenia or anything like that.
Kulikan.
Sinaloa, yeah, which is going to be a talking point for today's episode. But I feel like, I don't know, watching that humbles you real fast. But when did you guys first start seeing Vice?
So the first time, it was actually semi-recently. I always knew Vice from their articles, and not gonna lie, they were very left-leaning, right. Like in a way that I didn't like. Like they were always like, they always said the same, around that like 2016 time where like things were really getting pulled both ways. I came to not like them, but in 2017 or 18, I started seeing their investigative journalism on YouTube. really fascinating video that was looking at, it was a country in Africa that they're trying to make films, action films.
Oh, I think I've seen the thumbnail for this, but
It was super fascinating. They love seeing Hollywood action films, and they wanted to start making their own. So they kind of made this little like group or troop of sorts. And there's like one guy in the village who he learned how to weld so he could make like mock weapons for the scenes. One guy that's learning like computer editing. And it's like what you'd think a third world village looks like. But they're doing it, and like, yeah, they're more simple, but like they're really putting a lot of work into these and doing it on the regular, teaching kids like choreography and like fighting moves to like star in the movies. Super fascinating. And they interviewed all the people, and I'm like, wow, that was a good video. Like, good job, Vice. And then I started looking at some of their other videos about like the war in the Middle East, more awesome boots on the ground stuff. I was very impressed that like, it's impressive because like with the news, like you have these reporters telling you what's going on everywhere in the world.
but they're in a studio in Washington, D.C.
Exactly. They're reading the teleprompter. They're just telling you the thing they got to tell you. These people, this is investigative journalism. Like you said, boots on the ground. They go there. They film the Taliban. They film the cartels. They ask them what's going on. They show you all the real points of interest.
They show you real like murder scenes, like, oh, this happened 30 minutes ago, and they'll show you like, hey, a bomb just went off, and this is what the aftermath looks like. Like, there was an IED right here. This is what it looked like 30 seconds after it happened.
Just terrifying images. Because as many of those stories you have just as many as like the story that Chris presented, where it's just like bringing to light wonderful things that happen around the world.
Yeah, they have a lot of cool stuff too.
And I think this is, I was going to touch into how I pretty much started watching Vice. It was all from Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. That's when I really dove into
It's a cool show.
liking Vice, because, you get to see not only like, when you go through school, it's kind of funny, right? We all went through a DARE program.
Ours was, because I remember we did the same one, but ours was like it was
Great.
great. Or
I think it was
like,
great.
It was something, but our Mr. Potter was the officer.
Ooh. Wow. Actually, that kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah, Mr. Potter. And I remember vividly he would tell us like, see, it's not just you shoot somebody and they die. There's gurgling noises. There's blood, and like he would always say gurgling noises, and I was like, why are you telling us this, dude?
But so like those kind of programs were put in place to kind of highlight to us what a world of drugs looks like, and they do a good job. They do kind of exactly what Vice does when they show some of these graphic films.
Except there's no free drugs. They tell us people are going to come to you and offer you weed. Like, don't you wish that would happen?
Yeah, but that's kind of how it is. You know what I mean? If you know a dealer, especially like I know with cocaine, it's very frequent. Like people will go over to their cocaine dealer's house and you'll pick up cocaine, but then you'll also do cocaine with the dealer. So it's kind of like free cocaine.
Yeah, the dealer, it's like a social thing. He's like, hey, yo, check this. I just got this new
Hey,
line.
I have no friends. I sell drugs. Do you want to come do drugs with me? Because this is the only thing I know. Because I sell drugs.
And it's my income.
And the circle keeps going around. Why can't I stop selling drugs? Well, because like
this is the Kush of Christmas past.
Boy, like it's a tough business to get out of. But that's how I got into it. Hamilton would go around the world, and he would not only talk about the regions in which this developed and how it helped formed and shaped their cultures and their beliefs, but also into the chemistry of how these drugs affect your body. And it kind of just takes it all from like, the fucking 1970s explanation of this is your brain on drugs, and it's a fried egg, and you're just like,
Hamilton's like, you guys want to see me trip on DMT?
Hey, look at this. I got test tubes that'll explain exactly, you know what I mean? Like, this is the chemical reaction you're going to have in your brain. And
this guy's going through a trip right now. Let's watch him.
I'm actually going to trip, and then watch me. And then, you realize, wow.
So I haven't watched.
Not bad.
I haven't really watched that show, but does he like legit have like bad trips?
Yeah, he keeps it real. He does a lot of different, I'm talking like just out there drugs that you'll never, like, I can't even
like we have a guy blow a
names.
dart into your face and like a powder.
Yeah, he does like the the special ones. The one that really stuck out to me the most was ayahuasca. Ayahuasca.
I remember
is-
hearing about that because when he was on Joe Rogan, that's like what they talked about for like the entire episode was ayahuasca.
Yeah, it's one of the more like rising in popularity kind of things, because a lot of the patients that Cameron works with at the drug rehab center have not a lot of, some of them have gone to like villages in Central America and stuff where they do these ayahuasca rituals, and they say to Cameron it's something that it not only just affects your life, but it just affects just the way you see everything from that moment until the moment you go on the ground. And a lot of people, like, they use it to quit doing drugs, quit smoking. I eventually want to do it too. But you got to go into those kind of things with a purpose. I think that was one of the main lessons in all the Hamilton. You did a fantastic job at this. You doing drugs with no purpose is where you lose control,
Right.
and you kind of lose sight.
But see, CNN and Fox and MSNBC won't do this. They'll go, "Hey, what about dogs and leashes?"
It's because they got a fucking
Agenda they got
agenda, right? Like,
Vice has an agenda too, and their agenda is, you want to see the world? And like, the co-founder of Vice, I think both of them have been on the Joe Rogan podcast. And when you hear them talk, like, you can really understand, like, they're very, like, Shane Smith, I think is his name, one of them. He's very like, hey, the environment is pretty fucked. Like this is like 2 years ago. I was listening to it and I was like, well, this is scary hearing the stuff that he's talking about.
that, and it's just bringing everything to light, and it's agenda free for the most part. I think the thing they do best is they just present both sides, and every story that they bring up, you will see at some point in time an argument and then a counter argument.
As much as they can, because I remember there was one where they were following Ukraine when that annex happened in high school, but the Russians weren't going to talk to them.
Yeah.
So real quick, I guess we'll talk about the one that we saw, the videos we saw today, where we saw they were literally hand in hand. We were just joking and thinking they were going to be hand in hand, but they were. It was talking about how the cartels are ramping up drug production in the pandemic, and then how Americans are staying afloat smuggling drugs in during the pandemic.
The wild circle.
And the wild circle. But in the first one, they're literally side by side with both of them. They're side by side with the cartel, and the cartel's talking to them.
Just rifles in hand, just
13-year-old kid with a machine gun in his hand going, yeah,
I like this.
I like this. I want to be a vet, but bro, I could shoot. It's like Call of Duty in real life, bro.
It's so funny you say that, because I thought this is a 13-year-old boy. I was playing Black Ops or something when I was 13. This kid has already been put into like a militaristic
He's seen people
cartel scenario.
being killed in front of him. But if you like, and Vice covers this with like Al Shabaab and like ISIS and all that, and it's the same thing. They target children, and they groom them into being like, hey, you want to do something cool? We'll pay you. You know, we gotta fight these bad guys. And they go, okay, because kids have I guess they're less.
They're impressionable.
Yeah, they're very impressionable. And so a lot of these fighters are kids, and Vice shows you that. And I think that's the crazy part. Oh, excuse me, sorry everybody. I think that's the crazy part about Vice is they don't shy away from showing you casualties. Like, hey, this is what the world, like, we keep saying it. This is what the world looks like, because I think since 2016 especially, we've noticed that the media has been very like, look through our looking glass.
Well, I think we also the only world news that I ever am frequently presented with, especially through Hulu Live, and even when I was growing up, is you get that ABC World News with like David Moyer or whatever his name is, and then you'll get the
like
dude on
2020.
NBC, the freaking white guy on NBC.
And well, not CNN. I was saying
Forgot
Anderson
his name.
Cooper.
But see, what I was gonna say is that's world news. You know what I mean? And
Right.
we've been, when you look at CNN and you look at Fox and even HLN and shit like that, That's all. They're mainly focusing national because at the end of the day, that's what matters the most to us, right?
Mm.
It's our news. So that's why I think we all like Vice so much, is it's that outlet to the outer world that, is
Well,
now finally present.
And I feel like those channels, the ones that have a very obvious bias, all they do is just to see how badly they can talk about the other side. Vice is like, look at both sides. This is what it is. And not to say there isn't some biasness with Vice, because there is, obviously, like Christian was saying with their articles. There's a heavy
Yeah, I could see that.
leftist bias, and even in some of their videos, there's a pretty big bias. Like today, I watched.
They bias against things that the world should naturally bias.
Yeah.
Killing families,
killing children,
mass murder. Right?
Yeah, they're like,
we're
hey,
not going to say
genocide's kind of bad, and you're like, yeah, genocide does seem kind of bad.
But they do an excellent job of showing the people, and
they humanize both sides.
That we're looking for those like mass graves with the freaking with the
moms
with the freaking nail,
the poker thing.
Yeah, they would poke the ground
like
and try to find mass graves.
Yeah, it's for like I knew the word, but it's for like finding utilities and stuff like that. But yeah, but then they also go to the cartel and they go, hey, these people, this is how they make a living.
I think going into this documentary, or going into this little news story, I always was wondering, like what cartel people really think. Like I thought the dude from the cartel would say, yeah, of course the cartel runs Mexico.
But he was like, the government does.
Yeah, and it's just like, and then the lady in the government's like, yeah, it's going to keep going as far as, our military and our police let it go. And I'm like, whoa, it really is. It's a never-ending circle. But do you just start a civil war? You know what I mean?
There already is one.
That's the thing. Like,
well, here's the thing. So with the Joe Rogan podcast, he had a guy on name, and we talked about this earlier, Ed Calderon. He's a former police officer from Sinaloa. And he tells you, he's like, yeah, I think in the next few years, the USA is going to have to come in and get involved. But here's the thing, though, with the USA is just like with the cops and the military in Mexico, a lot of them will be bribed. And he says, like, I can't tell you how many times I knew an officer from training, and then 6 months later, he's rolling around in a new Bentley. And then sure enough, he gets arrested or killed for corruption.
Yeah, no, it's a very lucrative lifestyle. I mean,
yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, just work together with the people that, might kill you. You're going to get paid from them. And the world keeps moving on. That's why I was going to mention, because seeing a lot of these shots of the cop cars in Mexico reminded me of like when me and Cameron went to Cancun this past summer. And we saw the same thing. Like when you drive down the streets, there is, people standing in the back of, pickup trucks, like with ARs saying like, policia. There's lots of, a lot of police. But what I found out about a lot of those commercialized areas is those are like heavily, like the cartels know they can get the most money from where these tourists travel.
Oh yeah. So they'll keep those areas safe too.
Yes. So all those cops around there are like, literally kind of, turning, they turn their eyes, like they're not that involved. They're heavily present, but at the same time, they understand. A lot of them are the
cartel, though.
A lot of them understand if we stop the drugs coming in, then tourism kind of slows down, and you don't want people to hate coming back to Mexico, because then you don't have a job, because tourism funds the government and government pays you. So it's just like this whole big clusterfuck of a system. And it's quite terrifying, honestly. Seeing all those cartel members out there and just patrolling the mountains.
Oh yeah, and they're not even patrolling for people like you and me. They're patrolling for other cartels or the police, and they straight up said like, we'll play the police. And he said like, if they come to us, cool, we're cool with them, and they'll come to us and be like, hey man, you got any food, or you got like, hey man, you think I could get some money, or like, hey, do you think you got any girls?
Punane.
Some boozy.
What's the interesting takeaway from this is that, it's just comes down to it's people following money. And whether you think that's corrupt or not, they kind of use the pandemic to explain how people are very impoverished. So I think about just how like, things in their own way are bad in America for like our class of people, and people resort to doing dangerous things like crime or even joining the military, a potentially dangerous thing. And it's not just Mexican citizens that are, having a hard time financially and their men and boys decide to go to the cartel. Guess what? We saw Americans that have been out of work from the pandemic that are, because they could freely pass through the border because they're Americans.
Yeah, they have a passport.
They're being used. This American woman was smuggling drugs, and she says she's done it 9 times.
So she's on thin ice because they said like, oh, we think you can do this 8 to 10 times before you get caught. The cartel said this.
Around 10
But
times.
how much were they paying her a day?
What did they say? $4,000?
$4,000 a day.
So she's made 45 grand, roughly. No, a little less.
That's
36 grand.
That's like, holy crap. Like,
yeah. Well, the I'm gonna tell you, the person that has the job that's best made is that middleman, the one that's loading the truck for her.
oh yeah, because they're probably never gonna find it.
Oh, never. That dude is not being touched, bro. Like, and it's terrifying because, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. It's something that like just random momentary thoughts where it's like, what if George wasn't a decent human being and he was willing to do a lot of risky things and he didn't really care about his life? I would for sure smuggle drugs. Like the lifestyle,
Making $4
Good
grand
money.
a day.
insane. You know what I mean? Like I'll refer back to Cameron because she deals with drug addict patients. Some of these stories about these guys who were heavily involved. You're talking about living a life of luxury that you've never even imagined before because the money never stops. You don't know what to do
I
with it
bought a
because there's
tiger.
so much. You buy a car, you're going to the mall every day. No need to like,
Budget.
no, absolutely not. Let's go out to fancy restaurants. Then let's go party super hard and let's go just do it all over.
But I feel like
over
if
and
I-
over again.
I was thinking about it. It's like, if I did that, I would probably do hella drugs and party hella because of the stress level.
That's why they do it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that lady said, she says like sometimes I get sent to secondary inspection for an hour at the border and my heart is literally, she's like, I'm afraid that I'm going to have like a heart attack.
And that's what they look for. And every drug smuggling show I've seen, like especially freaking, it's not on Vice because Vice is too cool. They wouldn't go like that. But there's a show on Border Patrol. No, it might be Vice. Those sons of bitches.
There's one that I saw and they were like, yeah, this dude's nervous, so we're looking at him. But yeah, I mean, and so we're talking a lot about the cartels, but like, I didn't really have a good idea of what was happening in Africa or the Middle East or even like Eastern Europe unless I see it from Vice, because you just won't hear about it.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't even know that there's like a conflict going on with Armenia, and I forgot the other one, but like Armenia is using illegal artillery on this country. This was like 2 weeks ago that this video came out, and they're using illegal like artillery, like NATO banned it, like you can't use it.
Mm.
And then they go and interview the president of Armenia. He goes, "We're not using that." He goes, "It's all legal." He goes, "We show videos of it." Like, that doesn't mean a whole lot. And the funny thing was, is the comments of that video were like, "He's an Armenian leader speaking in English. That should say a lot. You should be worried about that guy." Oh, is the battery dying?
I think the battery might be
Ooh, it
dead.
might be,
Ooh.
yeah.
I think it just died.
Do a quick replacing.
Hey everybody, sorry about that. Our camera died, so we're picking it right back up. But we're gonna kind of bring this thing to a halt. But I know Christian had some points he wanted to bring up.
Definitely. So like the issue is the government supports it because a lot of they get the most profit from this, as they said.
The cartels, right?
Yeah. From these cartels. So honestly, I think about nations like Italy that have been, mostly ran by mafioso syndicates for generations.
Well, did you
now.
see with that cartel video? They said that Mexico is like in the bottom of like the most corrupted countries, and like Denmark was at the top.
Which is obviously ridiculous.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
We like these poor people who are finding bodies of all their family
Right.
That's terrible. Italy, mafioso syndicates have ran the country for a long time. I was talking about fucking Yakuza. Yakuza created in Japan their own version of like order in the country for the longest time, and in a way ran things from behind the scenes. And to a degree, the police allowed it to happen. Now, you could say order is for better or worse. In this case, I say it's for worse because these poor people, they're not hoping to save anybody. They just want to get closure by digging up the bodies of the people that are missing. What's
Right.
going on is evil. I think the government is still going to follow the money and, try to line their pockets. And I think the country is going to be controlled by cartel syndicate, different cartel groups. Which
Well, it already kind of is.
a lot of bad stuff's going to happen. So that's kind of like my prediction of where all this is going to go.
Well, they said almost 500 cops last year were killed.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
Yeah.
Which is a ton.
I was literally, as soon as I was said, I was like, boy, and we're talking about police brutality here. Like, bro,
We're talking about
And
brutality
they're
from the police.
outgunned by the cartel.
Yeah.
like, that's what, how do you even explain that? You know what I mean? The world is so different and flipped that, the cartel, the only way that I feel the cartel begins to lose power is if you legalize all drugs. And they said you have to hit them where it counts, and it's their bank accounts. They're not
Right.
going to make any money if now, Mexico is providing this place where, people could go use their opiates. They can go wean themselves off of heroin freely, government provided, and then get them, into programs and stuff that help benefit them. And this is another Vice video explaining the way that they do this. And I believe it might be Denmark who's already legalized all drugs. But they have them in controlled facilities.
Right.
That's their main source of income. Okay, that and guns from the United States of America.
Oh my God! Don't real quick. We should talk about
Yeah,
that.
let's talk about the 50 calibers they found.
Boy, go ahead.
So they were saying. So there was a video because we were like, "Whoa, what's this one about sniper rifles?" And then we watch it, and they were like, yeah. So sniper rifles, 50 caliber. There was like 50, and all but one of them were traced back to the United States.
Something like 80% of the guns that the cartels get come from, they say, which ironically, very gun lax states like Texas
In Arizona, yeah.
So
that shit was crazy because it's like that's a 50 cal. And once again, not to get too political, but I'm very pro gun. I mean, I own them, but I'm also like that's not my personality. Like people are like, yeah, guns.
put stickers on the back of your truck.
Yeah, no, that's how you get robbed.
NRA sticker.
NRA. But they had like probably one of the most left leaning dudes on there talking about it, and I looked at him like that dude's never shot a gun before in his life. I guarantee you. But he was like, yeah, it's very affordable to buy a 50 caliber. I'm like, no, it's not. Those rounds are like $10 each per bullet.
But you saw how at one point in time the cartel went from some freaking hoodlums in a tank top
Oh yeah.
to then they look like fucking stormtroopers the next day. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
all look like either stormtroopers or they're about to go BMX biking. You know what I mean?
They said the one guy had a grenade launcher attached to his assault rifle.
Bro, they brought Call of Duty
Guys
and just
with
made
light
it real
machine
life.
guns.
They got the gold skins on their AKs like in Call of Duty.
Absolutely crazy.
It's sensationalized, obviously. I think about any army from here on out, like with all the stuff that and like skins and games and shit that have come out, people want shit that looks cool. And
They
countries that suck might not have the biggest military, but look swaggy as fuck. They get just like, I want a country, and it's weird. You never really see a country embrace like the color black as their uniforms, like just straight fucking
Well, because
black.
you stick out. You
I
can't
know,
blend
but
in with
you
it.
only fight at night or something like that.
I mean, the SEALs kind of did. But, like,
Ninjas,
look at-
1600s.
look at-
literally, yeah.
Look at India. Do you guys remember that kid Chowder?
No.
Yeah.
So he went to middle school. I went to high school with him.
Anthony.
Anthony. I had a couple classes with him, and like I think it was high school. He's like, bro, I want to be a fucking cop in India, dude. Those bitches got fucking tigers and drive Ferraris for cop cars. He was like, that shit's fucking tight. So like, look at India, but then like one of the poorest nations in the world, but they're like, hey, but we got Ferraris.
Yeah, bro.
Balanced as all things should be.
Oh boy.
So I guess because we're running a little bit out of time on the camera, but
I have one
yeah,
other
please.
word on the
I was
50
going to say
caliber.
we could wrap it up. So
All
so
right,
please.
this will be the wrap up that I start. I'll do my wrap up. So what I didn't like about the 50 caliber part was like the guy was obviously left leaning, which any viewer can like just decipher that and claim that for themselves what they think. He used a lot of buzzwords. He called onto the gun show myth. He said, oh, common sense gun laws. I didn't like that like American gun control was the focus when the focus should have been the fact that security going from America to Mexico is lax while security going from Mexico to America is very high. I think that should have been called into question more when I felt like that guy was just trying to like
push an agenda,
push a thing about like American gun control. Because it's really bad that they get all these things from these states and can out. I remember they zoomed in on that cop's shotgun. It looked like it was like from Fallout New Vegas. It was so like chipped and rusted.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem. But to kind of get into what I thought of these and the rating.
We're rating. I wasn't even gonna rate because it's just a news source. I was just gonna talk about how cool they are.
I guess it's not a movie.
That is true. We stay with rating.
No rating. These were super interesting. Even the one where like I thought the one guy was biased. That was a super enlightening ass video.
It was crazy because you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude. And just I don't know. I just like getting the perspective. We think like, oh, there's these villainous cartel motherfuckers across the globe. Oh, big scary. But we now actually get to like see a real perspective on the ground. So I thought it was pretty nice.
George?
I'll put it as simply as this. Where we're sitting right here, only about 15, 16 hours away. You have around, at the beginning of last year, from January to June. This is a stat that stuck out. You had 17,000 murders. Second stat that stuck out to me. You have 95% of these murders go unsolved. And yet you have so many people complaining about why are these people trying to come over here? Why are they taking our
not even taking our job.
They took our jobs. You know what I mean? Like you should be fucking disgusted, right? Because you brought it up. We are sitting in a house. We are safe. We are comfortable. Never once in my wildest dreams do I have to think about being stopped, being kidnapped, and then if I die, have the possibility that my family never even knows that I died. You know what I mean? I lost Malibu for a week, and like that uncertainty, and that's my fucking cat that I've had for 2 years, not a living human being. That's what Vice does.
It humbles you.
It puts everything into whatever perspective you want. You could, because like we said, they present both sides as best they can. So, for some people, it's like some people could watch this and be like, well, Mexico needs to fucking figure it out. You know what I mean?
Which they do.
They do.
But we also got to figure it out too.
Yeah. How about, like the land of help and assistance and, like we're the greatest country ever. And there's no unity there. You struggle to see it. But yeah, that's what I got to say. Love Vice. Keep doing what you do, Austin.
So what I want to drive home is I personally, I can't speak for you two. I personally think you, the viewer, listener, should totally ditch Fox and CNN and MSNBC and watch Vice. Yes, you are going to get biasness. In this day and age, it's impossible to go without. But as far as a news source, you get the least amount of bias. You get the least amount of, hey, let me input what I want you to think.
They show more than they tell.
Yeah, like they'll have a voiceover and it'll be like, this is a drug cartel like staple. Like this is where they work. This is where they make drugs. This is what they're doing. And then they'll let them talk.
Yes, you're right.
And they'll show real life moments. They'll show people like being operated on the table in like a building in Syria. And they just have to do with what they can. So I feel like it's a real eye-opening, humbling experience to watch Vice. And they have entertaining shows. Like I remember when I had Sling for TV. They had the Vice channel on there, and there was this guy who would like just go. He was from Britain, and he would just go hang out with like white supremacists and like radical like race groups.
I think I remember
See
seeing
what they're
this.
doing?
Yes.
Yeah, and like he
Yes.
got one dude like all riled up to be hella racist towards him, and he was like, "Ah, I got you."
I'm wearing a wire, motherfucker. You're canceled.
No, they see him with
Yeah,
the
no,
camera.
they knew it.
They knew
He
it
was like
a-
a black reporter
Yeah.
going in to like interview them, and like there I remember one part in specific, and you tell me if you remember. He was it was like a rally, and then like he finally pulls up to the rally, and then the guys are like, the black guy said, you know, like, we're ready to go in, you know, do you think it'd be okay to like walk in with you? And he was like, well, I think it's best if you just stay here. And then
Yeah.
the reporter was like, well, if you guys aren't going to do anything bad, then like, you know, like, why can't I just come in? Like, am I going to be harmed? He's like, I just highly advise you to not come along. But bro, like, talk about on the spot moments, just like you're talking about.
Yeah, like that
are-
dude would. It's the best investigative journalism I think of our time. You can tell that it's not bullshit. Like there's a guy and Shane Smith. I want to swear his name is Shane Smith. When he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, they were talking about this one guy. He's like, that dude's a fucking animal. He'll go out in Syria and be like talking and be like, yeah, we're getting shot at right now. There's an RPG coming in. It landed 3 feet from my head. This is what Syria's like though. And like he'll be in there and just be like, yeah, so, and like talks calm as fuck.
because you have
Mr.
to.
Worldwide.
You have to talk calm.
Yeah,
Imagine
oh,
if these
true.
guys weren't talking calm. Then we'd think they're biased
We
because
would.
everything we see when people aren't talking calm and they're just like trying to prove a point. Very emotion driven answers.
That's what we were talking about on with your
Think-
kids.
That's low key. Like you have to be just so even keeled, right?
Yep.
To a point where people don't know.
Just like, yeah, and he probably called his wife afterward. I almost fucking died today. I'm fucking scared. Mom, can you come pick me up? I'm
So-
scared.
Southwest doesn't fly to Syria anymore.
So, what I'm trying to tell y'all, form an opinion of your own. Let us know what you think. You can get in touch with us at lukewarmcinemapodcast@gmail.com. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. George just wants to T-post so goddamn bad. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Lukewarm Cinema Podcast. We're on TikTok, Lukewarm Cinema Podcast. And we're on YouTube, the Lukewarm Cinema Podcast. And we thank everybody for listening. But until next time, guys, Jinquee.
Yeah.